Hey, we're talking about DeepSeek. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back, take two. This is Saturday and we're having fun.
Are we though? I appreciate Darth Jader who told us that there was no audio. So I think you've taken down the links and all the places that you shared the links and put the new link up.
The way I do is I only have to take it down in one place and then it replaces all of them.
Nice. So hopefully you're joining us for the second time. Sorry. That was on me because there's this little bar thingy that I'm supposed to look at, but I was listening in my headphones and I'm still not great at being the producer. You'd think I'd be better at this after a year, but you would think, but no. I forget all the little nuances. I just think I'm going to slide into the chair and push some buttons. It's going to be great. So.
Oh, it's easy.
It's easy. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Well, maybe I need to get AI to do it. Can I have AI be the producer on our show? That's what I'm wanting to know. Well, so it's funny that I was thinking that because I'm like, can I have AI be the producer on the show? Maybe I could.
Not yet.
Not
Almost
yet.
there. Almost there.
Are you sure? Because I wasn't sure about this whole DeepSeek thing. Because I just wasn't sure what it was.
It's not funny this time.
I still think it's funny. I find it funny. Anyways, I wasn't sure what it was, and I sent Vincent some horrible jokes. But anyways, so I'm like, I don't know how to talk about this, right?
Right.
And I try to come up with ideas for the show because I think, I've got good ideas and I want people to hear what I'm talking about or whatever. But my ideas tend to fail a lot when we do shows about my ideas and
I heard audio, so it's working.
Oh, okay. When I think of shows and I'm like, oh, I think this is a really good idea or whatever, but I'm not, I guess, current. So I don't know what's current. So I've tried a couple of times to go ask ChatGPT, which is an AI, like, what should I talk about on the show, right? So then Vincent's like, oh, well, we're going to talk about this DeepSeek thing. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. But I know it's AI. And I'm like, well, I'll ask the AI about AI, right?
Right.
So I thought, let's go into that, let's inception all that, right? So I ask it, this is what I ask it. I said, what can I say about AI like ChatGPT on a YouTube talk show? Well, because I've asked ChatGPT, because I have the ChatGPT app on my phone. So because I've asked it a few times, now it tells me, on your Geeky YouTube show. And then I was like, oh, shit. I was like, damn.
Where it learns from what you've entered in there.
And inherently, I know that.
Right.
But just to see it there, it freaked me out, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Throw my phone away. It's stalking me. But that's the point, right?
But you did it on ChatGPT, though, which is funny.
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT about itself. And so it told me things like, you can challenge it. Like, here's a show idea. You could do AI times by the show, challenge it to things. Or because it knows that we're a couple, geeky couple, then it says you could use AI as a marriage counselor on the show and ask it questions. And then the third one is, can AI replace a talk show host?
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, and I was like, well, maybe could AI replace...
For future shows.
Could AI replace me as the producer is what I want to know. So there was a lot of ideas in here, which I thought, and then it asked me at the end, which this is a new thing that I've never seen it do before. It asked me, would you like for me to take one of these and expand on it and write you a script or an outline is what it asked me. And it's never asked me that before. So I thought that's real interesting. I'm not exactly sure where all of that comes from. Is it something that it did before and I just hadn't talked to it enough that it...
Well, since it starts asking you, once it realizes that you're kind of wanted for the show, then it's like, well, it's gonna start asking questions about that. It's learning from you, but it's also learning from itself and what other people ask. So when it takes that, it kind of says, okay, well, other people are asking this too, and they've asked for this. Maybe I should give her that. And that's how it came about.
Okay, so it's kind of not just taking off of my feet.
Oh, and thanks, Dark Jader. Audio is
Thank
good
you.
now.
Sorry. That was me. So I guess, you know, your brain works on a different level than mine does about this, because this is kind of your jam or whatever. But is it kind of like, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to explain here. So like we all know that places like Instagram and stuff, that they know, and like TikTok, right? They have these kind of algorithm thingies that, so like if I'm looking at certain things enough times on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, then it knows to feed me more of that stuff.
Right.
And to some extent, your phone has to hear you, because sometimes you'll be having a conversation outside of looking stuff up and it'll feed you that stuff, right? Like if I go to search Google and it's something that we've been talking about, it kind of, you know, it gives you suggestions on what you should search or whatever, and it kind of knows already like what to search. Is it kind of that same concept, that it's like AI has got like some kind of algorithm or something? Or
Yes.
how does that work?
Yes, it is an algorithm that goes through and kind of like analyzes that's built on those algorithms, like TikTok has, like you said, and Meta has, Google has.
So is DeepSeek, this is a new one,
DeepSeek is a new one, yes.
and it's similar to ChatGPT, or?
It's very similar to ChatGPT. Herein is the difference in the two. Whereas ChatGPT is part of OpenAI. OpenAI is here in the United States.
Okay.
Mostly. And for DeepSeek, DeepSeek is China.
Okay.
So of course, you know, Americans don't want China to be top on AI right now. And this has been out for a lot longer than we've kind of heard. This has been out since like Christmas.
The DeepSeek.
DeepSeek,
Okay.
since last year.
Okay. But not really that long. I mean, it's only
Long
been like
enough
a month.
that I should have heard more about it.
Well, but I think, again, like you're saying, because it's China, it's not getting as much of the...
It's probably not just gotten as much play here,
Right, that's what I mean.
but it has in the right circles.
Well, and I didn't know very much about it, so I tried to do some research about it. And one of the things I like to do is like check out news stories and stuff. That's kind of how I find out some more information. So I was reading this news story that was kind of likening it to like when we were going in the space race, right? And when we were pretty good, but we hadn't really started anything. And then Russia had Sputnik. And so they were kind of miles ahead of us, like leaps and bounds ahead of us, right? And then that was the catalyst for us to do better,
Right.
to get there first. So it's kind of reverse, but not exact. So the U.S. and some people that had helped us, my understanding is this OpenAI had come from all of us, and we were kind of the top tier. And so now it's other kind of top tier countries, and as far as like electronics and that kind of stuff, that are trying to catch up to us.
Catch up to us and that.
So is that
Well,
the
with
case?
technology, we've always been, we've usually been first. most of the time have been for, apart from like phones and stuff like that. But now things are starting to shift in the fact that people are able, like people or Chinese are able to do that cheaper than we are.
But cheaper, I mean, I don't understand all the economics of everything, but cheaper from my understanding is because they don't have to pay a labor force the same way that they have to pay us.
Right.
You know, so that ends up being cheaper. So I had also seen something that this DeepSeek is more economical than OpenAI or than ChatGPT or whatever it was. I didn't quite understand how does it cost? I guess it costs human power to design it, or how does that work?
More economically in the fact of just running the application itself. So
it has some kind of process.
Yeah, it has a GPU. It goes through. They use GPUs. Now, the GPUs that China is using for DeepSeek are 10 years old.
And what's a GPU?
The GPU is a graphic processing unit. Usually those you're considering like gaming PCs and stuff like that. You have GPUs. Yep, it's to where you can see what's on the screen.
For graphics, right?
For graphics.
But they're using it for AI.
Yeah, well, just much like they're using it for Bitcoin mining and cryptocurrency mining.
I don't understand any of that, but okay.
So what it is,
yes,
it's a dedicated processor to do whatever you want it to do.
Okay. So it's some type of processor, and because it's like for gaming, and you think of gaming being like heavy in all of the visuals and all the processing, so it's a heavy duty processor.
Right.
Is what you're saying. Okay. So we have like a more expensive, newer version of this GPU.
Yes.
And DeepSeek is using an older version?
10 years old.
10 years old. Okay. So, but it's still able to do the same stuff at the same level that the OpenAI?
It does the same stuff as, because if you're looking at the base ChatGPT program, it does more than that. But it doesn't do it as quickly. So DeepSeek does as much as the $200 tier.
I didn't even know there was.
There's a $20 tier, $20 a month that you can pay, and you're able to select the right version to allow you to do some of this extra stuff.
See, I didn't even know there was a paid version. I guess because I thought it was Open AI, which open means like open source means that like people can use it, right?
Right.
It's kind of like when Winnie the Pooh, it's not that he's open source, but he kind of like their license, I guess, ended on Winnie the Pooh, and then that's why people could kind of use him, and they made that weird horror Winnie the Pooh or whatever. It's kind of like, I guess I thought open source was like that, like anybody can use
free,
it.
Like it's free. Like a free, no. Like it's open source just means it's open, like the source is open, it can be freely distributed, but you're able to charge for it. So, if you take it and kind of like add to it, you're able to shoot it out, and now you have to pay for that part.
So the open source is like kind of like the base coding, I guess?
Yes.
Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, because I know that there are other things aside from ChatGPT that have this AI. Mm-hmm. I've seen it on Canva. So I know, like on things like Canva, you can use it. I've tried to kind of use it on Canva, but I haven't loved it. But I think because for me, it seems like it's like taking away part of the creative process for me. So I don't love it yet for using it for that kind of thing, but I know it's available. But I think Canva also has like a writing part now too, because
Right.
Canva is used a lot by students, and so I think it offers that. I just haven't tried to use it yet. So what you're saying is basically like Canva, ChatGPT. I've looked up a bunch of others.
Like Photoshop has that as well. If any of y'all use that, there's like generative fill on there that you can use that. And I actually did that for the thumbnail tonight, and did the background using the generative fill with artificial intelligence, and it kind of just did the background. There you go, and then you tweak it a little bit here and there.
So let me see if I get this right, because I'm trying to
Okay.
to wrap my brain around it. Okay. So there's this open source, right? The open AI, and it's like the basic code at the bottom level, right? And then all these different AI things, Canva, Photoshop, ChatGPT, all the little ones that you can make images from and stuff like that, right? They take the base thing, but then they build on it so you could do potentially more stuff with it, or like better stuff with it.
They interface with it to allow you to bring that in and use that to develop whatever you're doing on your application. So Canva is bringing that in. It's connecting to OpenAI. I think it connects to OpenAI. And then it takes that and uses that processing power and uses all the parameters that OpenAI has and creates what you needed to create.
Because one of the things I've always wondered, and is the DeepSeek, is it going to do, does it do images, do you know, or it's just like text type stuff?
Right now, I think it's just text stuff, because I've tried to create an image, it's like it doesn't create images.
It doesn't do that.
No.
But
Somebody can build something to attach to it to do that.
But so the image creation ones start with the same OpenAI source?
Yes.
And then there's something attached that builds onto it.
Right.
Okay. So then there, like, some places are attaching like better stuff, because one of the things that I like to follow on Instagram is these AI generated things. I find them extremely intriguing. Like, it's like if Tim Burton made, you know, Moana, and so then they turn all of these characters from Moana, but they look like that kind of sunken in, like Tim Burton, you know, Coraline type-esque things. And it's like really cool to see it from that version.
Right.
Or it's like if Frida Kahlo, there's one that I follow called The Non-Museum. And it's like if Frida Kahlo was painted by Seurat or Monet and or Salvador Dali, and then it like, or, you know, there's all kinds of things. But then I'll try to put something in like one of these image generator, and maybe it's because I'm using the free ones. So
Right.
Is that what you're kind of saying? Like with ChatGPT, I'm just using, or with some of these image things, I'm just using the free one. So it's got like the lowest tier of stuff kind of attached to it. Is that kind
Right.
of what you're telling me? Okay.
Right.
So then explain it to me. Explain it to the audience one more time. Kind of what so DeepSeek. It has like all the things, like all the bells and whistles. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Not image wise, but like text wise.
it has more parameters. It has as many parameters as the paid versions.
So what does that mean by parameters? What do you mean?
Abilities to ask questions.
So
I think right now it's 671 billion parameters in DeepSeek.
671 billion
Yes.
parameters. 671 billion parameters. Okay. I'm sorry. I keep asking him a lot of questions. You're like, why are you asking him all these questions? Because I think I understand, and then we get here and we're talking about it, and I'm not sure that I understand. Okay. So follow me down this rabbit hole. Okay. So in 1990, I learned how to program some. I programmed Pascal back in the day. And it was like you had to type out like all the programming. So we're just kind of learning about AI as educators, right? Because we're trying to understand, like, how can the students use it? How can the students use it to help kind of build some of their skills, but how can it, sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. I muted so I didn't sneeze on everybody. So how can we teach them to learn it to kind of improve their skills, but not have them use it to an extent where they don't have any base skills, right? So teachers are afraid that this AI is like AI that you see in the movies and stuff like that it thinks on its own, like it thinks like a human being, but it's not. What you're saying with parameters is it's not necessarily that it thinks per se. It has like if-then statements, like when you code, like if they ask me this, then I would search here and answer that. But it just has 671 billion of those.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Which is not as many as a person, but it's close.
Well, it may even be more, but they don't. It's still not thinking the way we think, right? Not exactly.
It can.
So is it going to be like, what's that movie that you like with the kid and he thinks that he's playing the game and it's like War Games, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Oh, War Games, yeah.
Yeah,
where
he's asking it the thing and then it's like, should I just like destroy this or whatever, right? Doesn't that happen in War Games where the computer's like,
where it learns from itself?
Where it learns.
Yeah, it's an AI.
And then it's like, oh, well, if you're telling me all of this stuff. So I think that's one of the things that people are worried about. And is that something that's conceivable? Is this AI is like, well, these humans keep doing all this stupid stuff. I'll open up the missile silos and bomb all of them. Is that conceivable?
Yeah, it is conceivable. But we've put constraints on that, or there should be constraints on that.
But how long are those constraints going to last? Like with things like DeepSeek coming out, right? And now we've got this. To me, it's like now we've got this country.
Here's something real scary that happened.
Oh dear God, this is what I want to know. Is
real. Well, they were going from different versions of ChatGPT.
Okay.
So they're going to stop using ChatGPT 2. They were going to end that. Well, that decided to make a copy of itself somewhere. It started to do that.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. And then they caught it real quick and stopped it. But yeah, that's something that they didn't think about that would happen. Yeah, that did happen.
So then this becomes my concern, and I don't know that this is going to be, but now I'm like, the sky is falling. I'm like Chicken Little here. So now that it's kind of, okay, here's DeepSeek, and it's from China, and now if we're looking at it like, this is like Sputnik and the space race and everything, and so this country is trying to be better than this country and win it out. At what point do we, I guess like when we made the atomic bomb, right? And it's like, well, let's do it. Not only should we do it so that we can be the power, right? But let's do it so that we can see if we can do it, right? Kind of thing. Because humans tend to do that, right? We're like, well, let's do it just to see if we can do it. So at what point do we stop realizing that AI has found its way around our parameters, especially if we're like, oh, well, I don't want to put in X parameter because this other country's not going to put in X
Right.
parameter. Like, I don't want to not have my missile silos because I know they're having their missile silos. So I don't want to put in this parameter on AI because I know they're not putting in the parameter, and theirs is going to go further and theirs is going to. Is that something that's plausible?
It's plausible, but it's something that's not going to happen, because I guess an AI can be built to be evil if someone chooses to. But if it does that, it opens a possibility of the AI eliminating whoever created it. So that's not a good idea.
So what do you have you seen anything or read anything about what did the creators like, what are they hoping that it's going to be used for, I guess? Like, did DeepSeek get built just because they wanted to see if they could do it for less expensive than us, or is it hoping that it will?
Well, it opens up the possibility of doing, because it's all about processing power and connecting to that processing power. When you connect to that processing power, self-driving cars become more affordable. Energy efficiency becomes better because you find better ways to do things.
But how are people going to feel about, because we've already got this, oh dear God, TikTok is taking all of our information and stuff, right? So this is from China, right? Like TikTok is, it's a Chinese company, right? So do you think people in America are going to shy away from using DeepSeek because we've already got this kind of fear of China taking our information and using it against us?
Well, they're over downloading right now, in the app stores. DeepSeek is top over ChatGPT.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's an app I could get like ChatGPT.
Yeah, right now,
could get
I have
right
it.
now on my phone. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Well, there was something that I had read or seen about something about like you getting to not have to send the information to China or something.
Oh, so here's one of the difference. I want to talk about the differences in both ChatGPT, or talk about the difference between DeepSeek and ChatGPT.
Okay.
So ChatGPT, of course, is going to be more energy efficient because it created it to be that way, because they have lower end GPUs processing all that information, which means less energy is involved to get to that part.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people are worried, oh, well, China's going to get my information when I send it, just like they're going to get it through TikTok, or they're going to
Popmart, Temu, any number of.
anywhere Meta gets that same information.
Yeah.
So you're going through with that. It's open source, but you can take that and you can install an instance on your computer to run locally, to where all of that information, everything you ask, is self-contained within your computer, and it doesn't go out. It just pulls from the internet what it needs to answer your questions, and it processes all of that on your own computer. Now you need a super high-end computer to do anything relatively close to what it can do right on the website.
Okay. So is it okay? So you're saying it's More economical.
Right.
It's cheaper, which we like.
So
But is it cheaper?
It's like 10 times less than what we're spending here.
On the ChatGPT. So it's cheaper because it's lower processing, right?
Right.
So is it lower processing because a bunch of us can put it on our computers and stuff and
No.
source out of there? So it's like solar panels, kind of like
No.
you're pulling.
No, because none of that information leaves there. So it's self-contained.
So like you were kind of saying earlier. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. So you were saying, like, because now the ChatGPT asked me at the end, like, would I like to create a script, or would I like to create an outline or whatever? So you're saying it can kind of do that because now it's compiling all of the questions that everybody who's using it has asked.
Yes.
So if I just have it on my computer,
You don't have that.
then you don't have that
No.
network of questions. It can only be specific
Right.
to you. Okay.
To what you've asked.
Okay, I kind of get it a little bit better now. So you could use it that way, but you're really limiting yourself if you use
Right.
it that way. Okay. I think
Well, I'm sure there's already code bases included that has a lot of questions answered already.
Mm-hmm.
That's already self-contained in there.
Yeah. So when you're asking it, because I know, like, okay, you ask it a question,
Mm-hmm.
and then it like generates something for you. So, and then you have to kind of like refine it. Right. So let me give you an example. So I'm doing this book study with my students, and it's called Toy Box Leadership. So I want them to write a skit from the perspective of Slinky Dog is the leader, because he's one of the toys in the book that we learn about, and how he like has to lead forward, but you have to bring it or you're going to have too much tension, and it's a whole thing, right? You're learning leadership skills basically. So I'm like, okay, well, let me show you how to use it. Let's ask it to make a skit, right?
Okay.
So it goes out to the internet and it gets information on this book.
Mm-hmm.
And then it knows how to write a skit, right? And so it kind of writes like a base skit based on what it's seen. And so then it feeds it to you, right?
Right.
But so what I was trying to show them is, okay, it feeds it to you at first, and kids just want to take that. It's like when they do a Google search, right?
Uh-huh.
They just want to take that first thing and they want to use it, right? But if you haven't asked it the right way, so, because like my instructions are like, create a skit for your group or whatever. Well, some of them have a group of 3 people. Some of them have a group of 5 people, right? Well,
Right.
they're just copying and pasting my instructions into ChatGPT. So they're just getting a basic generic skit. Well, then they don't know, because, okay,
But if you notice, if several people do that same instance, they don't get the same script.
Okay, well, don't tell the kids that, because I told them that they would, and that's one of the bad reasons to use it, because then they're all going to be turning in the same assignment.
But here's also the thing, is you're probably also using the free version of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have everything else that's on the other back end that's asking all the other parameters that are coming in to answer some of those questions.
But some of it is you have to build
out.
some of your own parameters, right? That's why you have to ask it sometimes several times.
Some.
Because like with my kids, so I'm like, okay, we put it in there and it makes a skit, but it doesn't make a skit for 5 people. So then you have to go and you have to say, okay, take that same skit, but make sure that it's Slinky Dog and four people that are following him. And then it'll edit it.
Yeah,
right?
but if you type that in the first place, in that prompt, it would have built it out. What people don't understand is that it's how you ask the prompt that it brings the information that it does.
Mm-hmm.
The more information you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to teach my high school students, because they want it to just write a paper for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to just write a paper for them, right? Because then that destroys some of the skill set that they're supposed to be learning. So one of the things that I've asked them to do is to ask the prompt to create it at like a middle school level. Because then they can read it at that middle school level and they can understand it, and then they can kind of, it's like a starting point, right?
Right.
And so then you've got this starting point and you're not kind of frozen with, I don't know what to write about, I don't know what to say. But if I'm asking it to say it at a lower level and then I can read it and I can analyze it, at least I'm still reading it and analyzing it. I'm still kind of using some of that skill set that I would need to know how to read, how to analyze, and then kind of build on it. That's what I kind of am hoping that they do, rather than just putting in the whole parameters like write this paper about the Great Gatsby, use these 3 sources, write it at a, 9th grade level so it looks like I wrote it, because it could do that.
Yeah.
It can, right? If you had the paid version, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because as far as I've seen so far, the free version can't do that.
No. It'll do it, but it won't do a great job at it.
But DeepSeek can?
It'd probably be where the paid version is.
That's something I would definitely, I think, want to research and find out, because that could get real dangerous real quick.
Yeah.
Not dangerous like I'm talking like war games dangerous, but I think it gets educationally dangerous, right? Because I feel like there is a certain level of knowing how to do something that we need, because we've talked about this before too. Our generation is so much better with using Google, with using YouTube and stuff, because we had to search things beforehand and because we had to do things with our hands. And so it's easier for us to look up a YouTube video for something,
Right.
and then to go do it, right? Because we had this baseline. So my biggest concern is, okay, now we have this DeepSeek that's out that's free, and it circumnavigates the baseline, right? At least with the free version of ChatGPT, you have to have some kind of baseline, or it becomes very obvious that you're using AI.
Right.
If I have the highest level with this DeepSeek, is it possible to make it look like I'm not using AI?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you see how that could kind of be a concern?
But then you have to look at writing papers. What is it for? To gain a greater understanding of the concept?
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of them are using it for their English language arts class. So they're learning like literary analysis of a piece from a certain,
But is that something that we're going to need in the future?
Not necessarily.
How often have I had to go through and literary analyze something?
No, but it's about that skill set of that analysis, right? It's an analysis skill set. So if AI
But now you have a tool to analyze analyze it for you. It's just like calculators.
Yeah, but
People use abacuses
before, and now
we've gone to the calculators, and now we've gone to computers, which can solve equations for us.
So then at what point are we not necessary?
Well, then we're around to absorb what's around us and not necessarily have to worry. It's going to come back to socialism.
Because in essence,
where nobody works.
Because in essence, you could ask it to potentially write a book for you.
Right? I've done that.
And then you kind of destroy some of that creative process. And so then what happens to all those creative people?
That doesn't mean that it's good. You still need an editor to go through and edit it.
But do you need an editor? Because I would think that the AI could edit it
now, probably, yeah.
Much more efficiently than a human being could. It probably catch things that a human wouldn't catch.
But an editor will also kind of read it and analyze what's good in the culture right now, in the...
Yeah, but I think AI could do that. If I can ask AI to give me YouTube talk show ideas, and I'll tell you, when we've run with some of the ones that I found on ChatGPT, our numbers have been higher.
We've never run any of the ones that you suggested from ChatGPT.
Are you sure?
Never used them.
I thought we have.
Not once have I ever used that. What I use ChatGPT for is creating titles, descriptions, taglines, ideas for thumbnails, that kind of stuff.
Like the advertising type stuff.
Right.
I don't know why I thought we had used show ideas.
Well, you've given me show ideas. I've looked there, I was just like, well, that's cool, but it's not necessarily something that's like trending right now. And right now, like DeepSeek, that's trending right now. So that's why we're talking about that today.
You know better about what's trending than I do. I don't know.
Well, just like what are they talking
I
about?
had never heard about, never in a million years heard about this until you said it. And then I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I had no clue what it was. And then I giggled because I thought it was something that it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
And then I would never know what was trending. Like, I have no idea. I don't know how you know what this stuff is.
Because it's my field. It's my field. It's what I do.
Yeah. I'm just like, la, 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 la.
That's what it is.
Let's talk about Tentacle Kitty.
And that's the thing. It's just like when you see stuff trending, you jump on that train and then you do that.
But I'm sure that AI could research
Eventually,
all this
it's
stuff and
gonna
tell
get-
me what's trending.
I haven't tested that out with DeepSeek, just because I don't want to pay $20 a month for it or $200 a month.
Well, I thought you said
To
DeepSeek was
access.
free.
No.
Oh, you want to compare?
I want to compare because I don't want to pay $20 or $200 a month to get that access.
It's a shame that they don't have it like Paramount Plus or whatever. It's like you get 30 days for free, and then you can pay
They
to
did do
subscribe.
that.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they did do that for a while.
Oh, we should have jumped on that to see what it was like. But knowing you would have been sucked in, and then we would have been.
No, I did
20
do
bucks
that.
a month. Oh, you did?
Yeah, but I was just learning, and I should have done the free version until I learned more, and then get on.
Yeah. So.
But I was like, now I'm at a point where, well, now I don't need to. I have DeepSeek, and well, I'm gonna see what's the difference. But what seems to have happened is ChatGPT has become more text-based again. To whereas DeepSeek is starting to be the way it used to be, and add like emojis and stuff like that.
So what have you asked DeepSeek to do? Because I haven't used it at all yet.
Right here.
Because I know some of my students have like asked ChatGPT to write emails for them. Because that's one of the skills that I'm trying to tell them that they should probably do is know how to talk to other people. And they're like, I don't know why. ChatGPT will do it for me.
Act as a social media promoter. Review the following prompt for me. Optimize it to make it better. And ask me any questions you have before proceeding. Create an engaging and SEO-friendly YouTube title and description for a live broadcasting featuring a married couple who share their geeky insights on what DeepSeek is and why this AI is creating a buzz.
Dear Lord, that's a lot to ask.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been doing this for a little bit, so I know how to like kind of
Like put all the parameters in.
put
what
all
you
the
want.
parameters in that I need. There's a little more to it. That's a little bit longer. That kind of puts more parameters on it. So, And then when it came out, it gave me all the stuff that I use today. Mentally unstable. Hi, just spawned in. Thanks for watching, but we're just finishing up. That was DeepSeek. If you want to check it, it's already on right there. You can backtrack and watch it from the beginning. But thanks for checking us out. If you haven't clicked on the subscribe button, click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so the next time we go live, you know. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
And I'm Colleen.
Geek out, SA.